What's going on, good people? I'm Arya the King. This is Geek Salad Live. And on Geek Salad, we give you the latest and greatest in pop culture from a blurred perspective. That's a black nerd perspective. But everybody's welcome, as long as you're respectful. It's Friday night. I'm feeling good, man. We got a couple of dope guests for y'all. Got some topics to discuss. You know, I got a drink in my hand. We made it to the weekend. Let me know what y'all drinking on tonight. I'm festive. I got my pink hat on. We're gonna talk about Cameron a little bit. I was like, yo, we'll be talking about Cam. Supposedly, allegedly, Cam and Mace purchased Rockefeller from Dame Dash, or purchased his stake in Rockefeller. So now they own Reasonable Doubt. We'll talk about that a little bit. Let me see if I can get my guest on here. Because IG like to act stupid when I try to have guests.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Is that a ceiling?
It
You
is.
looking at the ceiling?
You are looking at the ceiling. Hold on. I'm trying to get my life together.
What's going on?
I'm here, man. What's going
I'm
on?
glad you could make it.
Thank you. On the live, not in person.
Right? We cut this music off. Listen, because I don't know what it is, but since it turned 2024, anytime me and G try to go live and bring guests on, it just
Don't work.
pay white, and it don't work right. So I don't know.
Well, it's working right now, so we good.
Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. How you doing? How you feeling? It's Friday. How you feeling?
It's Friday. Say that one more time. It's Friday. I feel great. It's Friday. So, work is over for another couple days, and I'm chilling.
Listen. We made it.
We made it. How you feeling?
I'm feeling. Listen. This week has been a little stressful. You know, brother's an entrepreneur. Got a lot of stuff going on. Working 9 to 5 in addition to being an entrepreneur. So it's always busy. But this week though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I earned 2 days off for sure.
This week, this big one, huh?
Listen, that's not at work. What you sipping on over there?
Might be a little Crown in this cup.
Just a little bit? Okay, all right. Might be a little Ciroc in this cup. Maybe
Crown in this cup. We deserve it.
We earned this.
Earned it. Absolutely. For sure.
Glad you can make it.
Happy to be here.
Yo, so we're gonna definitely get into an interview, man. I'm glad you could be on the show. Some quick house cleaning. The Geek Salad partnership with Blurred Station. We actually just signed on Orlando Jones. He's going to produce a show and also act in a show as well. That's coming off the heels of Michael J. White signing on earlier. So we're really excited. So, So Geek Salad, the role that we're going to play, we're part of what they call in the press corps. So we're going to be able to get behind the scenes with the actors, the writers, and all of that good stuff. So if you haven't, make sure you check out blurredstation.com.
Will do.
Also, join me on Instagram at beast_underconstruction_. I'm on a weight loss journey, Nova. Right?
Okay.
So 60 pounds down.
Hey.
Got 40 pounds that I want to lose. I want y'all to join me on my journey at beast_underconstruction_. I wanted to have Beast Under Construction, but somebody beat me to it. And it makes me upset because the dude don't even post to his page. Like, he made the page like 5 years ago and don't even post to it. You know what I'm saying?
Posted in 3, right.
I hit him with a DM. I was like, yo, come up off the name. Let me just have Beast Under Construction. You know what I'm saying? So I can drop the stupid underscore at the end.
Right.
He got me good.
He ain't even that. He don't know his password, man.
Probably don't. He ain't posting in 4 years, man.
Wild.
Ridiculous.
Well, congrats.
What?
Like, 60 pounds is a big deal. Like, that's fire.
Yeah.
That's
putting that work in. And, not eating the Wingstop as much. You know what I'm saying? Pushing away from the table a little bit. It's going a long way.
Yeah.
It's going a long way.
Keep it.
So are you from VA?
Born and raised in Norfolk.
No. Okay.
Yeah, and I went to high school in Suffolk, but 757, born and raised.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So tell us about growing up in Virginia. What was that like for you? Because Virginia, especially for artists, it's a wild place to be because I feel like there's so much talent here, right? But usually the way that it works, people make it and then they go to Miami, then they go to New York, they go to LA, and
Yeah,
it's like it's not a lot of venues here. So tell us about being an artist in the 757.
I feel up until like the last maybe year, it was looking very or feeling very discouraging because there is a ton of talent here, but the industry overall is like super oversaturated right now. So you really have to go out of your way to be heard and seen. And like it's like one extreme or the other here. Like you have people that really rock with you, right? But then you have people that are creatives as well that don't want you to do something before they do it. And I call it like a crabs in a basket mentality because it's like there's room for everybody to win. It don't have to be like that. And it's been a lot more collaborative effort in the last year or two. And it actually is a bit more promising. I feel like I could pop off from VA. But before I was like, I think I have to leave. And I've had some experiences recently where I'm like, when I'm not in Virginia, I get treated so much better. You know?
Listen,
And I do.
it's crazy how that worked, though, right?
You want the love from home, though. You don't want to have to leave. I don't want to leave the 757. I would love to pop off in the 757, stay in the 757, but
Yeah.
it's most people leave. I see why.
Mhm.
But I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to do that.
I feel like out here is like, and this is kind of true for everywhere, but I think it's especially true in Virginia. It's like people won't really rock with you until you made it. And then it's like after you made it, it's like, oh yeah, I went to high school with such and such. Yeah,
Who
you know,
that?
I always knew you was gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? You kind of get those vibes. Where I feel like in certain other places, it's like maybe they'll rock with you a little bit more on your way to actually making it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, like on the rise. And it's funny because a lot of people, like, unless you were close to me, most people didn't know I even did music for real, for real. Until because I didn't really start recording rap, like recording myself at all until I was like 17, 18 years old, senior year in high school. And so, it's not like I came up and was young and knew I was gonna be doing music. I've always been surrounded by it because my dad's a musician. He's a bass player, and I grew up in the church, So it's that influence is there. But did I think I would be rapping? No. And I didn't take it also like very serious until the last 5 years. So a lot of people didn't even know. They're like, "Dang, that's you. You're Norva Rain." Like they'll know that they went to school with me, but completely disassociate me with Norva Rain. Like it doesn't click. It's just starting to click for people.
Got you. And you talked about something that just now that was really near dear to my heart because I actually grew up in the church too. Grew up in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Um, didn't really play instruments in the church, but I was always intrigued. I remember being real young. 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
actually, I rap myself, but I remember being young, just being in church. And in fact, what put me on to rap, I'll never forget. I was like maybe 5,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in church with my older sister,
Mm-hmm.
and they had like a youth Sunday, like the youth would get up and do whatever talent they had.
Yeah.
And I remember the three teenage boys, they got up there and rapped, like from the pulpit. And like I had never seen that live. So imagine me seeing that at 5 years old. Like I was a
Yeah.
fan of hip hop ever since then. I don't even remember what they were talking about. I
Right.
don't remember if the rap was nice or not, but I was like, man, that was like a core memory for me. So
Right.
you have a lot of musicians who, especially in the black community, who start off in the church because in the church, you talk about a free music education. Some of the best musicians, singers, songwriters on earth come from the church. So,
Absolutely.
talk about that. Talk about your experience coming up in the church and what that was like.
So it's funny because like I didn't even get exposed to rap outside of Lauryn Hill, honestly, until I was like 16. So previous to that, like everything I listened to, what's going on, was
What up,
very
Chris?
like, hey,
Chris Allen, Nora Ray, Chris
How you
Allen.
doing?
Oh, yeah.
how you
Yeah.
doing? But so we talk about growing up in the church doing music. You know what I'm saying?
Grew up in the,
Was you one of the ones?
I grew up. I didn't play music, but I definitely grew up in the
Grew up in
church. Yeah.
the church. I feel like it's like a rite of passage. Like you grew up in the church.
Yeah.
But for me, so my grandparents were the actual pastors.
Ooh.
And so like on my dad's side, it was very religious, very church. I never like played an instrument, but my aunt was like the choir director, so we got sucked in the choir rehearsals that we didn't want to be in necessarily. But it taught me things because
They
because
Violet told you that you was gonna be in the choir. That's what it was.
but it's so many things I didn't realize influenced me until like I'm vocally like doing certain things now. I'm like, oh yeah, but if I remember this from church, or I remember this song. So it definitely influenced, but like on my mom's side, she never pressed it. So we didn't have to go to church.
Okay.
Like it was like if you want to go, you can go. If you don't want to go this weekend, you don't have to. It wasn't the pressure of that. But on my dad's side, I was very religious. So, but it gave me my basis in like funk because I have like very boom bap is like my found. If you give me some boom bap, I'm a rap. Like that's my foundation, and it definitely has to do with the church because everything is boom bap in the church.
Absolutely. Yo, shout out to all the musicians in church that don't be living saved lives for real. But they like, look, I'm about to go make this money playing real quick, and then I'm about to go to my girlfriend's house and do what I gotta do. Like it is what it is. Like it is what it is, man.
Can I ask what kind of church was it? Was it Pentecostal, Baptist?
Baby,
Yeah.
Pentecostal.
Yeah.
Oh, oh man, yeah.
I didn't see a professional football game until I was like 17 because like we were always in church. Like, I ain't seen no bad football games.
You weren't allowed to listen to certain like I really didn't listen to rap until I was like 16, 17, like other than Lauryn Hill, because what I listened to was so controlled. And
Right.
then my brother had a Dipset mixtape, and that was it.
Oh,
Like
it was already.
it was
Like, look, she went and bought an Averex and some Tim boots immediately. Like it just feels right. So this is what wrong with it, you doing. Just felt right.
So I'm guessing because their parents were clergy or not? Is it clergy? Yeah, clergy. That things were a little bit more strict for you, huh?
Well, like if I was at my dad's house where my grandmother was the pastor, then it was extremely strict. But like it carried over to my mom's in the sense that like it was like walking on eggshells. Like I shouldn't do this. It was like question. I shouldn't be listening to this. This has a cuss word, and this is this yada yada yada. But once I got like 16, please, just sit.
Yep. It was real talk because like my family also deeply religious, and I think there's some positives to that because it was the same thing. My grandma used to call it, yo, bless her, so she used to call it what did she call it? She used to call it jazz music. That's how old fashioned she was. You know what I'm saying? If it won't James Cleveland or the Mighty Clouds of Joy, it was that jazz music.
Yeah.
I was like, Grandma, how old are you that the devil praised sexualized really jazz? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that.
Associated jazz with like drugs and heroin.
That's how it was back then, like back in like 30s, 40s or whatever. Yeah.
It was literally like devil's music, you know?
It was, but like it was so needed. It's so the foundation of so many things. Cause like my dad played a lot of jazz and soul and funk and like that's really and I grew up on John P. Key and Donnie McClurkin and Marvin Sapp and Kurt Franklin and Mississippi Mass Choir. Like that's what I heard until I was probably like 8, and I think that's when the Miseducation came out.
What was it about Lauryn Hill you were allowed to listen to her for?
It was my mom. So my mom listens to more R&B, like and neo soul. She listened to gospel too, but like that 100% Genuine album,
Oh,
I heard first time in her car. And the Miseducation was in my mom's little Honda Civic. Okay, so it was on repeat. So yeah, it was my mom. I didn't listen to that. I didn't get to hear that over there.
peep this. So I went to church with a girl who later on, as an adult, was braiding my mom's hair, and they were part of like the super religious family. You know how there's always like that one family where everybody is like, oh, they super religious. She
Yeah.
when she got to college, people would make fun of her.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, okay, black, grew up in the 80s and 90s, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know who Michael Jackson was.
Wow.
That's how sheltered this girl did not know who Michael Jackson was. You're black, growing up in the 80s and 90s, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't know Michael
That's
Jackson.
some
That's
crazy work.
crazy.
That's crazy. Did she go crazy in college, or was she still holding on in college? You know what
Uh,
I'm saying?
well, I think for her, I think there's a lot of like resentment religiously. So I don't really know how much. Uh,
For a lot of people, it is.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know I had a lot of religious trauma that I released over the years. You know, a lot,
I
a
hear it
lot.
so much. Like, I feel like I'm a very spiritual person. I won't even say I'm religious because religion, I feel like, is for control in some ways more than anything instead of your actual connection to God.
Right.
And so, like, I've gone away from it. I don't go to church, but I talk to God every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. I'm blessed. You know, it's just like I've heard too many stories, not just my own. Like, it's the most common conversation I have with other creatives, the LGBTQ community, like all of them is church room like traumatized me. And that's not what it's supposed to do.
That can
Yeah.
happen. That can happen. I think what happens a lot too is you can have something that's dope. You can have something that's pure in its essence, but then when it's put in the hands of man, now you're talking about all the biases that come along with being a human, being the person teaching. So a lot of times, what you would have preachers saying one thing and focusing on 1,000 things that you can't do if you're going to be a Christian, instead of focusing on the good part of being a Christian, the loving, the being generous, the thinking of other people, hiding, thinking yourself. So you don't really, all you get is a set of rules. You don't get how to actually work this thing out.
Right.
And, trying to just be good, and abstain from what you naturally want to do as a human is just going to lead you to go crazy. So I think the problem is you got a lot of people talking a lot from the pulpit, but
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of teaching on what it actually looks like to walk this thing out. You don't get that a lot.
That
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, I went to a church a couple years ago. So it's a black church, and I gotta say, man, it was pretty sad how empty and old that church was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, well, this is what happens when it's constant fire and brimstone. They don't want, you know what I'm saying? Where you're constantly just judging people. Like I went to high school with a dude who is now a preacher, and he posted like one of his, I won't say he posted a set. He posted one of his sermons, and man, he up there talking about, and you got these men out here carrying purses, and they out here gay, and they switching. I'm like, I'm out. I was done right there. I was like, is that what you really up there preaching? Really?
Right.
It's like you got a kid out of wedlock and you're a preacher. Like you are
Right.
in zero position to be saying anything about anybody.
Say that part one more time. They got a kid. They got all these kids with young women in the congregation, but that's what you're talking about?
Exactly. And you worry about men.
Right.
And I try to tell people, because to be honest, I used to be part of that gay bashing crap too, because I grew up in the 80s and 90s, but I've matured and I've changed. And I tell people, like, you know what? When gay men have done as much damage to the black community as straight black men, and I'm not trying to dog us, but it's straight black men that don't take care of their kids. Like once we've gotten to that level where gay men have done it just as much, then I'll listen to that crap. But until then, I don't want to hear nothing about how gay men X, Y, and Z or gay people. I don't want to hear none of that because it's been straight people that have been doing this stuff in our community.
Right.
I hate to hear like these Christians bashing gay people. That bothers me so much.
Yeah.
Because in this country, if gay and trans people are gonna run anywhere, it should be to a church. But unfortunately, in this country, it's the last place they feel accepted, and that is completely wrong.
It's
Regardless
wrong.
of how you feel, the Bible says you're supposed to love and accept people regardless of who they are, and that is so wrong.
No,
A lot of people don't. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say I 1000% agree. Like, if you did the one thing that the Ten Commandments was compressed to was love each other. That's
Absolutely.
it. That's all. Like, he didn't say love that person if they straight or gay. He didn't say love that person if they black or white. It just said love thy neighbor. That's it.
I think what a big part of what the church is missing is understanding that you can still love someone even if you say that you don't agree with what somebody's doing or the lifestyle that somebody is leading. If I don't agree with something that you're doing, it doesn't mean I hate you. I can still love you. I can still want the best for you. I can still speak life into your life, but I just disagree with maybe you doing this or maybe you doing that or whatever like that. The two things aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. Chris, this is switching up a little bit. How did you get in comedy, man? Like what was that? Was you like the class clown? Like how did that come about?
Yeah, just just always joking around, having fun. When I was in the military, just always the one cracking jokes after we played basketball. And people, oh, you should do comedy, but I never thought I had skill to like jokes. People like I could be funny in the moment, but I don't know how to write jokes. And then long story short, I got orders to Las Vegas, and I just didn't really feel fulfilled in my life. And I was always asking people who I went to high school with, like, hey, is anybody doing anything cool? Is anybody acting or just doing something out of the norm? And then it just hit me. It's just like, yo, why can't you do that? And people have always said that you were funny. Just give it a try. So once I got my orders and we moved to Vegas, I gave myself like 5 months to do it. But like once I went to a comedy club, I think within the month of moving to Vegas, I was already doing going to open mics. You know.
That's fire.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of comedians on the show, man. I have a great respect for the genre, for the art form. What was it like your first time on stage? You know what I'm saying? I know you were prepared for, like you were saying, it's a difference between just being funny and then writing jokes. If you're going to get on stage, unless you're like a seasoned vet, you got to have jokes already prepared. You got to write. So what was it your first time getting on stage?
Well, I got too drunk and I left my set list at the table.
No.
My wife had to, So my wife had to read my premises to me from the stage, from the audience. She would go like, Dr. Phil. And I would go, oh, okay, Dr. Phil. And I would do it. And I'm like, what's next? And she would yell out. But it was terrible. I was super aggressive. I didn't physically attack, but I attacked the host. I talked about him. I talked about the comic that was before me. Like just like I did all the stuff that made me funny before, but I didn't realize like in the comedy setting, like you don't go after the host. You don't attack the comic that you don't know these dudes. And so I was out of pocket. And luckily, looking back, there was one dude, my boy Booyah. He was the only person that really talked to me. He told me what I did wrong, but stick with it. And like he was my guide for a while. And then I just started going to mics and getting to know people, and that was it.
Yo, what you think of all this comedy beef that's going around?
I think it's childish. I think it's ignorant. Honestly, I think a lot of it is phony. I think people want to move tickets. They want social media. They want views. So I mean, people they're just saying shit. I'm sorry, saying stuff just to be provocative a lot of times, man. And it's uncalled for. And honestly, it really exposes a lot of the fake like camaraderie that you see. People like acting like these comics are really cool with each other. A lot of people, they're not cool with each other, man. They really not. It's a lot of bitterness. It's a lot of resentment and stuff like that, and it comes out in these podcasts, man.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like they bringing up stuff from Friday. And Ice Cube like, yo, this happened like 20 years ago. Y'all, you know
Like,
what I'm saying? Y'all,
why are we talking about it, right?
Right.
honestly, that's from people because like, and these people have accomplished more than I have. But that's what happens when I think you become stagnant in your career and you don't grow. You just get hung up on the old stuff. And like Ice Cube and all these other people have moved on and they've had successful careers. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you, Noah? How was it the first time that you hit the stage? Were you nervous? You had, jitters, or you was just ready to perform?
No, not. I was not ready.
Okay, talk about it. Talk about it.
It's crazy because I actually had this conversation today with how far I've come because I would dread getting on the stage at first. Like I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't drink. My nerves were so bad. Like I couldn't drink water. I needed to just go in a corner and be quiet until it was time for me to go on stage. Like I had to really get my mind right, and was in shambles on stage. Like nobody knew it, but I was like, "Get me!" This is the longest 10 minutes of my life. Like it was just so much anxiety. And so thankfully, my first official performance as a solo artist was about 4 years ago, and it was in an intimate setting, thankfully. Although some people say intimate crowds are like harder, but it wasn't. It was just a really good group of people and vibe, and I was like, okay, I could do this. And then I started quickly getting booked for shows, and I was like, I gotta hurry up and get over this fear. And now it's like I can chill, I can laugh, I can eat, I can drink, and then I can go on stage and I'm good, you know. But it did not start that way. It was horrible. It was horrible.
I know with me, like before I perform, I like because whether it's because I've done comedy a few times and I've done I perform rap a few times as well. It's
Mm-hmm.
like whether it's comedy or rap. Me personally, I'm never nervous because I know I prepared for it. Like if I'm gonna go on stage, best believe I've been practicing for weeks, hours, and like, I'm ready to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the thing with me is when I'm ready to do it, I'm ready to do it. Like as soon as I arrive to the venue, I'm hyped, I'm ready to go. So if
Right.
you look at the set list or whatever, say it's an open mic and you got 4 or 5 people in front of you, it's like, God damn.
Right.
Yo, I'm gonna be here for 3 hours before I get to go up there. And it's just like I'm not nervous, but I'm ready to do my thing because this is what you've been practicing for. It's like the game. You've been
Right.
practicing basketball all week and now this is the game.
Yeah.
I hate waiting. You know what I'm saying? I hate waiting. I'm ready to
Yeah.
get up there.
Look, don't drag it out. And it's funny, I've gotten to a point now where I don't know like what songs I'm doing in general, but I like to go work the room before I perform and see like what kind of crowd it is and then perform accordingly. I'm like, okay, I was gonna do this, but I'm gonna start with this, and I'm gonna end with this because of the energy in the room. I might change my whole set, but I don't have a set. Just know your songs.
That's good.
Just know your songs and then go with the flow at this point. And I'm like, I can't believe I've gotten to this level of comfort, to be honest with you.
Have you done Cypher Tuesday?
I have not. I think Cyber Tuesday is probably the only thing I haven't done. I need to.
You got to do it. Set out the Quentin Cold Water. That's the homie, man. That's
Five.
the Q5. Yo, he's
Yeah.
doing his thing for a minute on
Yeah,
the
I
open
saw
mic.
him Wednesday night at Privilege for Wine Wednesdays. I'm there almost every Wednesday night at Privilege. So I'm just gonna have to I'm gonna have to take a Tuesday and do Cypher Tuesday.
For sure. For sure.
That's interesting to hear that you work the room because I figured like most artists, singers, rappers, they kind of just do their thing and like people are just expecting to hear certain songs. Like you know what 21 Savage songs you're gonna hear or Jay whatever. But that's interesting to hear because that's kind of my philosophy with comedy. It's just like I tell like comics like, yeah, know your jokes. Just know your jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I to be honest, I hate having a set list. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It feels good. Okay, I sat down. This is my flow.
Mm-hmm.
I work, but like I don't like feeling confined to that. I hate it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I'm a like with the flow type of person.
Yeah.
So it's like So long as I know my words to my songs, and I know my songs frontward and backward to the extent you can put them in any order, and I won't be thrown off. Because every now and then, you be so hyped that you be like, it'll be 2 minutes, 30 seconds, whatever, a minute before it's starting to go, be like, what's the first line of this verse? I forgot. Like, you'll draw a
Have you
complete
ever,
blank.
I'm trying to ask you that. Have you ever gotten, especially as a rapper? I feel like it doesn't happen as often with singers. You know, if you sing a song, but with rap, because you got so many more words in a song than like an R&B or soul song. Have you ever forgot your lyrics on stage?
Yeah. So I've had what I just said, where it's like, how I start this verse, like how the song go, how the start go. And thankfully, my other half, he's also my producer. He knows the songs in and out. He's like, it's this. I'm like, okay. I just need the first couple of words to
And
act.
then they get the mind going.
Yeah, but have I been on stage and drawn a blank? Because I'll mix this song with this song in my head. I got too many lyrics going on. Absolutely. But people don't catch it unless I be like, oops. And I'm not going to do
And
that.
I've seen people do that, and I'm just like, yo, we don't even like know that. Like, it's the first time we hearing you perform. We don't know if you messed up or not. Just keep going with it.
Yeah.
My
Right.
go-to thing, because I definitely forgot my lyrics a couple times. My go-to thing is I start, and if ever like I miss a word or something, or I start forgetting, I'll be like, nah, y'all ain't ready. I act like the crowd ain't ready. Now I say, hey, DJ, hey, bring it back. Let's start it over. They
Yeah.
not ready for this, right? Then
Yeah. You
by the
gotta
time you
play it
start over,
off.
you got the whole thing.
That's funny.
Shout out to Nas. I seen Nas do that. I was like, oh, that's smart. That nigga forgot. forgot his lyrics. That nigga's
That's
thing.
brilliant.
Oh,
Still that.
Absolutely.
this is interesting to hear y'all perspective on performance, man. Because ever since I started comedy, I don't really know too many rappers or people who perform anything live. Just comedy's so insular. We just stick to our own. I've only had my perspective, to be honest, for 14 years. So it's really cool to hear that y'all basically go through the same thing too. Yeah.
We're
Where, where,
performers.
where are you based out of, Chris?
I'm sorry.
Where are you based out of?
Oh, I live in Charlottesville, Virginia, but I just claim DC because I go there a lot.
Not,
Okay.
But
not too
Got
far.
oh, so we all that's VA. We all VA.
oh,
We're
you
the 757. We're the 757.
oh, okay, yeah, right there. Yeah, I got some homies. Okay,
That's
yeah.
what's up. Yo, I was on your page last week, man. It was this clip that had me rolling. You was like, you were getting your haircut and your barber likes to watch porn. Like, how did this happen? Your barber likes to watch porn while he's cutting your like how did this come about, Chris? Man, you gotta tell the story.
Please.
So I was stationed in Dayton, Ohio, right past Air Force Base. My barber was right around the corner. I could walk to it. It was great. I go there one day, the whole plaza burnt down. I'm like, what the hell? The whole plaza burnt down. I call my barber. I'm like, yo, what's up? He was like, hey, man, I'm going to be cutting out of my house. So I just started driving over to his house, and he just would, like, we would just talk about, how barber, we talk about women and all that kind of stuff. And, hey, man, you ever see Pinky? I'm like, oh, yeah, I know who she is, Pinky. Man, hold on a second. And he would go upstairs. I could hear, like, the floor creaking because we'd be in the basement.
Ain't no way.
He would come back with a big stack of DVDs, and I'm like, what is he about to do? And then thumbing through these, booty talk this, booty talk. I'm like, yo. And he would just put a DVD in, fast forward, like, yo, look at this. And I'm like, oh, my God. And this went on for like a couple months.
Not the booty. What you said? The booty talk.
Booty talk, yeah, all the West Coast.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was,
Big,
it was,
big booties,
No,
75. You know what I'm
yeah.
listen. That is like
That's crazy.
off the wall core memory for me, because my stepdad had a video store and he would have to swap out DVDs. We knew where the stash was. So
Yeah.
we would see the booty talk DVDs all the time, and that's just so hilarious to me.
Yeah. I would be so uncomfortable if he was lining me up while like some 19-year-old girl on DVD was getting her cheeks clapped. I was like, nah, bro. Like you just like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. Right
Yeah.
now.
And what's weird about the whole thing, he was super homophobic. And I'm like, you don't think this is
This
weird?
is weird.
You don't think this
Nigga,
is weird?
boy, ain't no girls with it. Like, what's going on?
We're in a basement It's like your private parts are right here. And you like, look at her, she taking it. It was just so strange. And I don't know if this made the clip, but like, this is how weird he was. One time we went to a Chinese restaurant together, right? And
Yeah.
the waiter squatted at our table, and
Yeah.
he squatted. He was
That's like normal in the Chinese
we
restaurant.
went to the Chinese restaurant. Yeah, the waiter squatted at the table to get on our level to take our order, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Hey," he was like, "Yo, you got to get us a lady waitress, because this is weird. You squatting in front of us, and that's just weird, man." I'm like, "But you've been watching porn in the basement with me for a month. You don't think that is weird?"
My bad, y'all.
Yeah,
I thought every time you come on, Norma, it's your ceiling. Like, how does that? Like, why does it keep being the ceiling? Why is it?
Because I'm holding it like being slow. Y'all don't mind me. I literally pressed one thing and it swiped to somebody else's live. I'm like, what
that
happened?
happened to me too.
Okay, I'm confused. My bad.
Look, I'm surprised IG let me have y'all on the show, man. IG don't like me. Like, this whole 2024 so far, anytime I try to bring somebody on live, he be like, nah,
Really?
Right.
not today, nigga. Nah, we busy right now.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What got you into podcasting? And
Oh, man. Yo, me and my podcast, normally it would be me and my podcast, G. He have to work late tonight, right? So shout out Bank of America. Me and him met at Bank of America like 10 years ago. Shout out to all the call centers, you know what I'm saying? Call center alumni. Yo, on lunch breaks, we would have these discussions, man. We would talk about rap. We would talk about sneakers. We both big sneakerheads. We would talk about comic books, movies, all that. We just had these discussions. And I was like, yo, this should be a show. And this was like way before podcasts even really being a thing for real. So we started out a show like maybe a few months, this is 10 years ago. We started out a show a few months after that, and we was just having these discussions. Then he moved to Charlotte. We stopped. The pandemic happened, like because it's years later, the pandemic happened. And after when the pandemic kind of like really was like at its zenith, you remember how it was where it was so bad to where like if you went to a grocery store and somebody sneezed, everybody like, God damn, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was that part of the pandemic. We was just in the house and was talking on the phone. We was like, yo, we should bring the podcast back and just let it be virtual. Because I'm in Virginia, he's in Carolina, and we just been rocking up since then.
Oh, that's what's up, man. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So look, I know y'all saw these ugly shoes that Donald Trump put out, and we were talking about this on the podcast last week, right? The ugliest shoes I've ever seen in my life, right?
Yeah.
How much would Trump have to pay you to rock the shoes? For like, let's say a year. What's the least amount that he could pay you for a year? So every time you went out your house, you had to wear them ugly golden shoes.
Oh, the gold joints? Man, the thing is, I don't even want to lowball myself. on some real shit. I mean, realistically, if he was like, "Yo, I'll give you 100,000," I would be like, "Ooh." I mean,
how about 5?
100,000, like it's some real shit.
Yeah.
But aesthetically, probably about 20-25 million. But realistically, $100,000.
There we go. I appreciate you keeping it a snap. Because listen, I think anybody that was dissing her at the time, I think people owe what was it, K Michelle. I think they owe K Michelle an apology. Because remember when she performed at the Trump inauguration, everybody went off for her. I'm like, yo, she's a musician who got hired to perform a gig. Y'all acting like if the Democrat won, like Black America would be different anyway. You know what I'm saying? I think people dismissed her way too early for that.
Yeah. So, but politically, I would not wear those shoes. Realistically, 100,000, and hypothetically, millions. You know, But what about you?
Ah,
I couldn't wear them motherfuckers, man.
yo, real talk. I couldn't do it for less, the least amount, and that's why I like to ask people the least amount. Because if I be like, hey, what you wearing for $1 billion? Nigga, you
Yeah.
be stupid not to wear it for $1 billion. You know, that's a no brainer. But I want to be real. I want to like really get into the conversation. Like the least amount you would say. I'm thinking like anything more than say 60 grand. I'm with it. I'm with it.
That
And let
makes
me tell you
you
why though.
didn't
Let
know.
me tell you why though. Because Trump, is he a racist? Probably. He probably is.
Oh yeah.
But the dude who's the head of Adidas, I wear Adidas every day. Is he a racist? Perhaps. Who's the head of Nike? Are they racist? Perhaps. What have they done for black people? I don't know. But we wear these brands every single day. We don't call it into question, and we don't get paid no money for it.
And yeah, I probably given Nike $50,000 over my life. You know what I'm saying?
At least, you know, nigga, Jordan's expensive. And I got a bunch of them, and I don't even wear them. Like, this is horrible. Horrible, horrible financial decisions.
I know I'm high right now, but that will be interesting. Like if from here on out, if you tipped people and track what we paid for, I would like to know like how much money have I spent on McDonald's at this point in my life?
Nasty work.
That
I don't even want to know.
you
I don't even want to
know,
know. And now, look, I'm messing around, and I'm on a weight loss kick now. So it's like I'm losing all the weight that I paid money to gain. It's horrible financial decisions.
I think
Horrible.
it's shocking to know that. Wouldn't you be surprised? Or like how much ice cream you've eaten your whole life? Or that would be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's definitely some high shit. But you make a good point.
That would be
It's funny because sometimes you'll be high or whatever, and it's like you make a point anyway.
yeah.
Even it's both. It's high shit and it makes good sense. What about you, Norval? How much we got the Trump campaign? Did they come knocking? How
She
much
ain't
did you wear the shoes?
get with it.
Wear the shoes, Norval. Wear the
At minimum, the least I'm gonna take
the minimum.
500. Oh God, 500.
500,000?
Yep.
So if he offered cash, forget a check because checks can bounce. 300K cash. You be like, you know what? Get your filthy money out of here. 300K? You want to do it? 300.
I mean, yeah, I probably would. I mean, okay, all right. So if I do the math, I don't want to get less than 10 grand a month. So let's say 120 in a year. So 120K.
Okay. Respectable. I appreciate the honesty because I don't like Trump at all. It's nothing to like.
And I want to be
But you know what?
able to say what I want to say. You can't control what I say, how
Nope.
I wear it, anything. I have full creative control over wearing these damn
Absolutely. The only thing you got to do is wear them anytime you leave out the house for 1 year.
Oh yeah. That's
shoes.
They
They
like
keep
it.
giving me first.
You know, it takes time.
what I would do, I would give 50 if I did it for 100,000, I would give 50,000 to black causes to try to give back.
Yeah.
That's real altruistic of you because I'm keeping all this money.
I'm sorry. Here's 50,000.
I am the black community captain.
I would feel bad.
That's crazy.
Feel bad. That's a funny concept though. What if that, you know what, man? To be honest, I don't see that not being a possibility in the future for campaigning. Because I mean, look at what they were doing with boxers and stuff back in the day when they first started putting like tattoos on their, like temporary tattoos on their back. They were like ripping their back. Watch, man. I think in the future, man, somebody will do something like that, man. I think they will. Like, you know what? Yeah, I'll wear this Donald Trump stuff or this whatever stuff for a year if you gave me 15. I think they would do some stuff like that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, these politicians in general don't care about black people. And it's like the Democrats really got to a lot of us, and it's like it's almost, you feel like as a black person you forced to vote Democrat. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to pick the lesser of two evils. My thinking used to be okay, I don't like this candidate, I don't like this candidate, but I like this one a lot less than I like this one. So I'm gonna pick the one that I like, who's the lesser of the two evils. So that's the way you can
But
say
they
it.
all,
But you know, it's another option. You got the option just be like, you know what? I'm not voting for neither one of these people until they come with a plan on how they're going to fix my community. Because we talked about this on the show last week too. We had Democrats in the office, Republicans in office, Democrat, Republican. It kind of like flip flops. Usually, you know, every 4 years or so. My neighborhood look exactly the same, exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like they love black people when it's time for a vote, when it's time for an election,
right.
and then they just forget about us.
Oh yeah, I agree with
Sure.
that.
It all goes out the window once they get in office.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
just,
can I ask this question? They say 70% of Americans don't want Trump and Biden to run again, right? That's the poll. If 70% of Americans don't, why can't we just go, no, y'all not running. Sorry, pick other people. Like how come we just can't tell them you're not running, you're not running. We need some other people. Sorry guys, y'all done. It's 70% of us. How is that not possible to tell both these people, no, see ya, you're finished.
because they would never
You know what I
have
think?
that much power.
I think it's so much money in these campaigns that it's kind of like the Taylor Swift effect. And no disrespect to Taylor Swift, man, because she is talented. But let's be honest. I know people personally who can sing better. Definitely know people personally who can dance better. You know, but why is Taylor? You see Taylor Swift all the damn time. She has a machine behind her, and these candidates have machines behind them because they rich. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the money that it would take to mobilize enough Americans to be like, forget the two main candidates, forget the way that y'all been voting for 200-300 years, and vote for these other people. It can be done, but it's going to take billions of dollars to boost that person up. You know what I'm saying? It's advertising and all that.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Totally, man.
I just wish it was we were legally able to go, hey, nah, and then you just put up two more people, but that machine would just feed itself again. You know what I mean? It'll start all over again. But I really believe the president should be somebody who don't even want the job. That's who I feel like. I feel like there should be a process where people are nominated and we come to a consensus like, hey, everybody thinks this person is good. They don't want it, but they're gonna do it. And I feel like with that way, you get somebody that like is smart. Everybody agrees they're good, but they don't want it. And I feel like they're not gonna want to stay in power. They'll want to do a good job, but when it's over, they'll be done with it. I feel like be someone who don't even want that freaking position. Because to me, wanting to be president is just weird. Who wants that job? Why? You gotta be. I love Obama. You gotta be a freaking psycho to want that job.
That's a stressful job, man. That is a stressful job. You're the most powerful person on earth. Like that's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I should run the country. Like, what is wrong with you?
Ego. That's that ego. But we got one more topic. Shout out to the cast of It Is What It Is, Cameron and Mace.
Oh, yeah.
These two brothers. Funny show. Funny show. I love watching the show because it's you got two guys who were childhood friends, grew up, came up together in Harlem, and then because of some petty stuff, they didn't talk to each other for like 20 years. Until like early last year. They got back together. They did miss a beat. They started a sports show where they talk about different events in sports. Apparently, they have purchased Dame Dash's stake in Rockefeller. So, which means Cameron and Mace now own a part of the album Reasonable Doubt. For y'all who don't know, that's Jay-Z's very first album. Now, what's so dope about this, if y'all know the history, is back in the day, Jay-Z and Cam had a beef. And also back in the day, Jay-Z and Mace had a little beef. So now, fast forward 20 some odd years later, Cam and Mace are in position to where they own a piece. And I'm actually a Jay fan. I like Jay. And I'm an entrepreneur. I like his business moves or whatever. But this is wild because now if Jay-Z wants to own his full album, he has to pay Cameron and Mace pretty much whatever they ask. I don't know if y'all had heard about this or not.
Yeah.
Now
So
I see why they're laughing so hard because I watched the video, but I was like, what did they really? That's funny.
I
It
saw
makes sense.
it,
They were
laughing the whole show, just laughing. It's like, yo, we about to be into some money. Because I think what happened was because Dame owned that portion of the album for like years, ever since the album came out in the mid 90s. But I think he lost a lawsuit or something like that. So he's having to sell off some of his assets to pay the lawsuit that he lost.
Mm-hmm.
And Cam Mason was like, oh, really?
We'll buy those.
Let me get that reasonable doubt for a discount. And now, allegedly, they own it. So, Jay-Z, go ahead and open that checkbook now.
If that's true, how the tables have turned.
Oh, sweet revenge. Sweet
Yeah.
revenge.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would love to be in a position to do something like that. So where somebody who was dissing you years ago, now if you want your own stuff, I own a piece of your very first album. That's like checkmate. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
That's crazy.
I love that for them.
You too. You too.
So what's the biggest venues you performed at, North?
Honestly, the biggest show I've done was Pride Fest, downtown Norfolk at Waterside. And that was probably about 5,000 people or so. Like, that's the biggest I've done.
That's dope.
And it wasn't a super long set, but it was enough for me to get wind of, okay.
No, that's 5,000.
It's 5,000. It was dope because most of the people there had never heard of me, but they liked me. And like, you couldn't tell them I wasn't a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just cool, the energy. They didn't care. They was like, oh my gosh, can I get a picture with you? Can I? It was just really cool. Like, they was like, they liked the song, they liked the energy, and now they know who I am. So it was really cool. But that's definitely the biggest crowd. And it was the least intimidating because it's so many people that you can't really.
It's impersonal.
Yeah, it's not so personal versus having 5 people in front of you. Mm-hmm. That's like, you really gotta. It's an intimate situation, so that is a little tougher.
So how do you approach the smaller crowds?
So usually when it's a smaller crowd, like the thing about the 757, and usually the smaller crowds are around here, I know everybody in the room. So, and they know my songs, so I know who likes what. Like, I already know that this person, their favorite song is this song, so I'm gonna mess with them while I'm performing this song. Right. So it depends on the situation. I haven't had an intimate crowd out of state yet.
Right. No, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I was just interested to see how you approach. What about you? Same thing?
Yeah. I feel like the smaller crowds is like, I don't know. I feel like you can kind of go off more because if you're an artist and you're not like a big name artist, like when you perform for a bigger crowd, you will have people who hear you, and if your stuff is good, they're gonna rock with your stuff. But then you have people in the back. It's like, I don't know this nigga, so they on their phone. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Whereas like a smaller venue, so say a venue, it's only like 20 or 30 people in there. Mm-hmm. When you got the microphone at that point in time, usually all eyes is on you. The crowd is more locked in. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I've noticed is a difference, man. But what about you, as far as like performing in different size venues?
Yeah, I'm with Norbert. You kind of got like a small crowd because I've done 2 people, 5, 6. It's just that you got to look at their situation. So like you'll see other comics get up there and just do their set. It's just like you can't really perform for that many people, so you got to make it personal. You got to make it come across like a conversation, and I think that's what you do. Like, oh, I know they like this song, so you kind of talking to them even though everybody else can hear it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's what I do. Like if I see couples, I go, okay, I'm gonna do maybe my married stuff and kind of aim it towards them. Oh, y'all single? Oh, okay. So maybe like that. Instead of me going, hey, my name is Chris, I'm married. It's just like talk to them, and then like you were saying, when you know your songs, when you know your jokes, you can walk people into your joke through a conversation, and next thing you know, they're laughing, and then after the show, they're like, "Did you make that up?" It's just like, no, I just kind of went into my jokes more conversational instead of like, because like how we were saying, some people like when they know they're set, if they get thrown off, they can't even start a new joke because it's like they got to go back to the other one because like, you know what I'm saying? Like if they get thrown off, they go, "Oh, now I got to start over," because they have a flow. But if you know your jokes, you don't need to do them in A, B, C, D, E. You can go, you know, B, B, A, F. You can mix it up. And I think that's what makes a performance way better when you just in the moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. Because like I'm starting to perform more with live
Oh,
bands, and like
I love that.
you have
Love
to
that.
know, like I'm really learning how to communicate with the band because that's a whole nother
Okay.
entity in itself. And then like just going with the flow. Like if you've never performed with this band and you go to an open mic and there's a band, you just go and they're gonna follow and you just go with the flow. Like they don't know your song, you know,
But
but
Right. But they,
you you can feel it.
right. You gotta trust them.
Mm-hmm.
Just trust.
Yeah.
Just trust they know what they're doing. That's so dope.
Yeah.
I think comedy, like with 85 South, how they kind of incorporate music into their comedy.
Yeah.
I think that is so dope.
It's really
that's crazy.
That's so dope.
Mm-hmm. Yo, talk about your creative process. Like, how does, okay, so Chris, I'm gonna let you go first. How do you start from having an idea of something you think would be funny into developing that into a joke? And then the same question for you too, Norman.
Typically, I just write it down. But I work with a comic. He's a you know, I'm on a podcast to talk. I open for Neil Brennan. Sometimes I feel weird about saying names, but I open for Neil Brennan, and I talked to him about my writing process. And what he made me aware of is like, he was like, "Yo, you're limiting yourself on the page because you're trying to write jokes. Like, take the premise and just write about that. Yeah, you can write the joke, but just keep writing about it." Me, I would go like, "Oh, I want this to be the joke," and I'm trying to write the joke. I'm tearing down other ideas. No, not that. That's too many words. He was like, "That's not the time to worry about that." He goes, "Write all that down.
Mm-hmm.
Do your little simple joke you want to do, but write down all the ideas that come to you because sometimes once it's gone, it's gone."
Yeah.
So that's basically my process, man. I sit down, I just write it all out, and then I try it on stage. Or sometimes like something will just come to me when I'm on stage, and I'll just try it sometimes. But I would say 90% of the time I write things down, then I go to stage with it, and just keep doing it, you know.
Yeah.
But but the weird one last thing, the weird thing about comedy, sometimes like the thing that you come up with, you want that to be the joke, but you have to realize, because we can fall in love with something like we want this nugget to be the thing. Sometimes you got to realize like, hey, that's not really the joke. It's part of a bigger thing. So don't get so caught up in this phrasing like for that to be your punchline, because it might just be a part of something. And that's why you can't limit yourself on the page and just try to write the joke, because you could be limiting everything else. All right, that's
Yeah,
it.
I've seen that. I've seen comedians do that. 'Cause I've done like 5 minutes here and there before. And what I found is sometimes the punchline, the thing you want to be that funny, you know, it kind of get a response, but then it could be like just a tagline that goes onto that really makes people like really get into it. So it could be the small things
Right.
to your point.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes you getting on stage and hearing that and people going, "Yo, that's funny, but that part, that's the joke." You got to
Mhm.
go, "All right, okay, cool. You're right. That's the joke."
Right. I think that like that falls right in line with most artists. Their most popular songs are the songs that they like the least because they didn't go into it like, oh, this is about to be this. Erykah Badu did not do Tyrone thinking that was gonna be her top song. I'm sure she was playing around about an experience she had. I'm sure she didn't think Tyrone was gonna be what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like with me, as far as my creative process, it really just depends on the day, to be honest with you. I like this just be straightforward. I'm spoiled because my other half is my producer and our studio is in our house. So if he sits down and he's doing something, I'm like, I like that. You know, like
Yeah,
it it's
I get that.
I like
Make me
him.
say yeah.
Is that for somebody? Is that for somebody? You know? And because if I'm triggered, he was like, well, if you got something, then it's not no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, cool. Because I'll hear a cadence. I'm like a mumble type person first. Like, I'll get the cadence and the melody. And then, like, I'll fill in the blanks later, typically. Every now and then, though, like I'll say something dope, but I'll be like, I might want to write that down, and then later I'll go back to it and let that just be the foundation of it. But it's really rare that I just be like, today I want to write about this. That's almost never it. It's literally just vibes and flow, and whatever happens, happens.
I think that's where you get your most authentic material, just living life.
Yeah,
And when you feel that inspiration, make sure you write it down.
yeah,
Have you
like
ever like been dreaming about like a joke or dreaming about a lyric in a song or writing something, and it was like the dopest idea, and you woke up, but then you couldn't remember it? Has that ever like happened to y'all before?
it's the worst thing
The
ever.
word,
It's
Yep.
the absolute worst. However, I had one situation, one very, very vivid dream with Jay Dilla.
oh, rest in
And
peace, one of the
rest
greatest.
in peace. And he took me on this musical like roller coaster. It's the best thing I can like compare it to. And when we got done, he was like, I'm gonna show you sounds that you haven't heard put together like before. Like I'm about to open you up to some stuff. And I'm like, okay, you know, and then like before he left, he was like, as soon as you wake up, make a beat. And I'm like, okay. Cause sometimes I do produce, and that's exactly what I did. So I wouldn't forget anything. Like I wouldn't leave that essence of what had happened. And I have a track called Dilla Dream. I haven't put it out yet, but it happened, and I remember, and I was like, let me hurry up before I forget.
That's dope.
That's crazy
Yeah,
dope.
yeah, for
Well,
sure.
it's really cool, man. Thank y'all for being on. I appreciate you.
No
Appreciate you.
problem. Thanks
Okay,
for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
okay, yo. Let the people know where they can follow y'all asses at.
So I'm on all streaming platforms, and all like social media under Norva Rain, NORVAREIGN. I'm pretty consistent across the board. It ain't but one Norva Rain that I know of. So, if you type that in, you're gonna find me. If you want to stream my music, it's everywhere. And if you keep up with my IG, I'll say I'm most active on Instagram. Then you'll see what shows I have coming up, and when I'm dropping new music and all that. I got 2 projects pending, so yeah, it's about to be real active this summer.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all can just check me out on IG and all things social media at Chris Allen Comedy, ALN. Check out my podcast, The Chris Allen Show, on all streaming platforms. I recently interviewed Roy Wood Jr. from formerly of The Daily Show, and it's a good episode. And it's just me talking to people who I find very interesting, other comedians, other artists, you know, just people who've been in just interesting situations in their lives. And just Google me, check me out. I'll be all over the country this fall. I'm recording my special July 12th and 13th in Rochester, New York. And my boy Mark Norman is producing it, and I'm really excited. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, just check me out. Just Chris Allen Comedy and all things. And check out the Chris Allen Show.
That's so fire. Congratulations. Like I'm
Congrats on that, man.
I'm not gonna lie, like I love stuff like this and opportunities like this because I haven't heard of you until today, and I'm sure you haven't heard of me until today. But like now we know, and I'm gonna follow you, and now I'm about to check out all your work. Like
Oh, I appreciate
fire.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
For sure.
Yeah, same with you. I'm gonna follow you too, and just be on the lookout. You're not that far away, and my wife does this thing called the Solar Seaville, and I know sometimes we're trying to expand and have a concert and stuff like that, so we might even be in touch for something in the summertime or something. So
Look at this networking going on. This is what I love
see,
it. I love it. Beautiful people. Beautiful people.
yeah, yeah.
All right,
So
well, that's it for this episode of Geek Salad Live. Again, thank you to our guests, Chris and Nova Rain. We Appreciate you. Want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure you follow the YouTube at Geek Salad Podcast on YouTube. Until next time, good people, y'all be good.
Peace. Thanks, man.
Peace.
Y'all be good.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on.
Yep.